Hey everyone, it's Casey here. I'm just setting up my screen. Sorry I'm 2 minutes late. We'll get started in 1 second. I'm just going to make sure that this is recorded. Yes, it is. Excellent. Give me 1 second. I'm just logging into a few things because what we'll do tonight is I will go through. So this is the clinic portal night. So we do 2 nights a month. Tonight we'll go through a few clinic portal tips, tricks around the document sorter and how you set up the AI receptionist and sort of some workflows around that. So bear with me for 1 second. Nearly got it sorted here, and we will get started, which will be cool. Now I was going to show you. I was going to show everyone how to log on to the clinic portal. We've got some really exciting news, which I think you guys will be the first to hear about, which is great. We're working with Ian Lowe from Clinometrics. So he's come on board to help us build out our dashboard product and our doctor disbursement. So building out some really cool dashboards. What we're trying to do is pull in a lot of products into the same thing just to make it easier. So you don't have 50 different things that you log on to. That's one thing I really dislike about being a GP when you got 50 different things to log on to. And so we're trying to do the same thing for the clinic side of things. So let me share my screen. This is recorded and we'll go through a few cool things. If there's any questions, definitely ask. Put it in the chat. So I'll go through a few things and then we'll answer some questions. And then I'll go through some more things. We'll answer some more questions. So that's all cool. So let's start with setting up the actual clinic portal itself. So hopefully everyone can hear me. Hopefully everyone can see the screen that I've just shared. So setting it up in the context of a document sorter. Actually, let me just show you exactly what I mean. So you should be able to see my screen. So we'll go through the initial setup process. All of this is in our help chatbot, which I'll show you in a second as well. And this will be recorded and this goes up into that section. So to turn on the clinic portal, there's two things that you need to do. So one, log on to the clinic portal, and two, set up the BP integration. If you're already on the AI Scribe product, which does the MBS recommendations, the PBS authorities, we've got a cool My HR integration as well as a CPD Home coming soon as well, and My Medicare. So some really cool integrations there. It's exactly the same process, so very easy. So you should be able to see my screen if I open up my BP. Hopefully everyone can see that. Let me know in the chat if you can't. I think it should be good. So this is good old BP. In terms of setting up the integration, very, very easy. So you go setup, you go configuration, you go database, set up third-party integrations. This is where all the third-party integrators live. So there's a ton of them. I think there's like 250. So there's a huge amount, which is awesome. So there's heaps of things that you can choose from. Some really cool products, etc. Now in terms of our one, we're MBS Pro, of course, so you can search. And we have two connectors. That's because we've got multiple tools. So one, we've got our AI Scribe. The other one we've got is our AI Receptionist document sorter. So it's easy if you just enable both, even if you're just using one or the other. So just enable both. The naming convention isn't the clearest. MBS Pro, MBS Pro AI, the sort of both AI. Anyway, the MBS Pro, that is the Scribe product. MBS Pro AI is the AI Receptionist product. Enabling them both makes it a bit easier. So MBS Pro, if you enable it, you just click it, like give it a tick. Now, the new thing that I should mention, which is a BP thing, which is a good thing, a very, very good thing, is this generate pairing code. So what BP have done is they've put in this pairing code, which is pretty much like two-factor authentication. So whenever you log onto your bank or whatever, you get a text on your phone. It's kind of the same thing here, where you can generate a pairing code. So if we click on here, even though it's already ticked, we can click there and go generate pairing code. It comes up, would you like to enable MBS Pro and allow integration to the BP Premier database? So go yes, it'll load up, and then the pairing code is here. That's my site ID, so that's like my medical center. Your site ID will be different, and that's okay, that's normal. You just copy and paste this pairing code, so you copy that, and then when we create the clinic portal, which I'll show you in a second, there will be a pairing code area. Now, pairing codes aren't mandatory until like a week. I think it's April 1st. April Fool's Day. I think it's April 1st. Up until that point, you don't have to use a pairing code, but a pairing code does make a few things easier. So one, it is more secure, so that's a good thing. Two, it does mean that the manual authentication process, whereby you integrate and then we have to approve you, can be streamlined. So essentially, you can approve yourself because no one else would know that pairing code other than you. So if you put in the correct pairing code, that just matches up with our pairing code connector that all third-party integrators have, and it'll just match up, and it's like a really simple and easy process. So copy and paste that. If you're doing the scribe, do it for this one. Same process. Make sure they're ticked, and then generate your pairing code. Yes, I want to connect, and then you can see it's a different code in there. So that works out really well. Now, exactly like two-factor authentication, pairing codes are not valid forever. They do expire, which is good. So it's difficult for other people to sort of integrate and pretend that they are you as such. So that's the idea behind it. Currently, we have a manual process. So that's how you set it up in BP. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, in the context of the clinic portal, so let me minimize that. Hopefully everyone's across that part. The clinic portal, all you need to do is go to clinic.mbspro.com.au. We're currently doing free trials, so there is no payment gateway, so you can just log on, let it load up. Let it load up. Here we go. Good. Then you just go sign up. Obviously, if you've already got an account, you just log in, but you go sign up. It'll ask you for a few more details than it would for the AI scribe. So let's do a thing. So put in your username, password, etc. Let's continue here. Okay, I've probably already signed up with that email. Should have tested this before I started. We're doing it live. Good. Boom. So enter your first name, enter your last name, make sure it's spelled right. Now, who should be the person that does this? I think ideally, practice owner, practice manager, something like that. You can change your details, so I'll go through that in a second. And you can add users in that can use the product, so it's not too big of a deal. So we'll put in our website, which is www.testclinic.com.au. Sorry, that should go on the next one. We'll call this Test Clinic, and we'll put in the phone number. I think someone just joined. Excellent. So you put in your phone number. I'll just make one up. Clinic. Okay. Of course, there is a Test Clinic. Good job. So set up your clinic. That's pretty straightforward. Now we've got two products in here now. There are going to be more, so I'll show you the dashboards in a second. I think I showed them a month ago. So we've got two products currently. So you got your AI receptionist. It'll say that you need to add a BP integration. When we do the BP integration, which was via the process that I've showed you, I'll show you what it looks like, but essentially it'll show your front desk, which is where all the calls come in. That part, so even when you integrate, the AI receptionist still need to be set up with your IT provider. We are using ASAP Telecom. That's AJ from ASAP Telecom. He'll coordinate with your IT providers because what we've got to do is set up the phone lines and the diversions, which I'll show you in a second as well. So you'll have your front desk, you'll have your knowledge base. Your knowledge base is just everything about your clinic. So anything on your website. So your opening hours, how many doctors you have, what their specialties are, what days, well, not what days they work because we pull that directly from BP, but just, do you have on-site pathology, physio, things like that, etc. Managed doctors, there's nothing in there at the moment, but that will show you essentially, let me show you what it looks like on my clinic. Essentially, the managed doctor section has all your docs and you can turn it on and off for them. So your knowledge base this is what the front desk will look like. So these are some test calls. It'll just show you, the patients. It'll have a transcript so you can view it and see what's going on if there were any issues with it. Your knowledge base is everything about your clinic. So you can just go edit, put in all your clinic details, take them out, etc. Your clinic settings is just turning it off and on for each doctor. You can put in preferred name so that you might have a preferred name for that, the doctor, as in the doctor has their preferred name, and that's what they're known by. So you can put that in so that the AI recognizes that it is, that doctor. So when you add in the BP integration, all of those things will come up. Similarly, the document scanner needs the BP integration because you're filing documents into BP. So when we do it on this side, you go to settings, you go to BP integration, you put in your site ID, you put in your first name, last name, and you put in your, practice name, and then you have a pairing code, put that in, and it will set up the integration. And then what it will come up is it'll come up, status integrated or not integrated or error. Hopefully it integrates. A common error that happens is from Halo. So Halo is our connector. So when we looked at BP, it said MBS Pro via Halo Connect. Halo Connect is a third-party cloud provider that pulls information from BP, stores it in the cloud, and then we as a third-party provider connect into Halo. Sometimes that connection into Halo can be a bit funny, and you need to disable what we did in best practice and re-enable it. So untick the boxes and re-tick it. Not sure why. It's like the good old turn it off, turn it on, and then you can use the products. So once you've got your integration, you'll be able to use the document scanner straight away because it's integrated. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Your AI receptionist will have to set up the phone lines, which I'll talk a little bit about. Now, in terms of your users, you can add users. So, I'm the practice manager. We can add other practice managers, and you can add super users that have, or super admin, which have, the ability to do anything. And you can add sort of reception admin that might do, for example, just the document scanning. Simple as putting in the email, they get emailed out a password that they can use and log on and change, etc. So it's very straightforward. So you can add as many people as you want. They can log on, they can do the document scanning, they can have a look at the AI receptionist, so on and so forth. Eventually, it's not quite here. I mean, you can use it. You can invite people to your team. The teams is more in the context of the AI scribe, so you'll be able to manage the MBS Pro AI scribe through here. Currently, we do sort of a little bit more of a manual process, so we're going to streamline that and make it a bit more straightforward. So currently, the document sorter and the AI receptionist work. So let me show you a few documents. Essentially, all you do is you upload a document. You can browse any documents that are on your computer or something like that. Or the really efficient way that we use it at our clinic is via email. So we can set up an email for you. You need to let us know. So you can email hello@mbspro.com.au. I'll show you how to do that through our help section, or chat to us through our help section as well. Either or is perfectly fine. And we set it up for you. I think the email works really good because it pretty much gets rid of all downloading attachments from emails and uploading and blah blah blah. We just forward emails to this address, it downloads them, and what it does is it shows you the file here. It matches up to the patient here, so good old Emma Rodriguez, and it'll match it up to specific document type, doctor, and then you can elect to put it into the patient file or the inbox. So what it does is it saves a lot of manual inputting, double handling, makes it a bit easier and a bit more straightforward. We've rolled this out at some really large clinics, and they've been really happy with it, with the time it saves. So this product, the document sorter, is $199 a month. Saves way more time than $199, saves a ton of time. And then the AI receptionist, we're doing introductory pricing of $199 a month as well. So there's no setup fees or anything like that. We want to try and get it up and ready for you and turn it into a really great product. So that's the AI receptionist and the document sorter. In terms of the clinic portal, let me just check if there's any questions. No questions at the moment. That's good. We're happy. Let me just show you or talk to you a little bit about the IVR splits we call. So this is what we do at my medical center. So I'm at Condamine Medical Center. You can give it a call and you'll hear James. We're sort of rejigging it. So we're always sort of experimenting to get the right thing. And I think this is what works really well. So what I mean by the IVR splits, essentially when you call into a phone and it might say something like, press 1 to speak to, I don't know, the reception, and press 2 to speak to admin or something like that, right? This is what I think works as a basic workflow for AI receptionists. So you call into your medical center, and you might have a message that says, "Welcome to my medical center," whatever the name of your medical center is. Thanks for calling. We'll be with you in a sec. Whatever you want to say. For example, at our clinic, we say things like, we're doing flu clinics at the moment, or we have a bone bust that's out. Sort of public service stuff that we just inform everyone about. So anyway, so you call in to the medical center. We say those messages, whatever we want to say, and then another message will play, and all of these are in the voice of James. So that's the name of the AI receptionist. His name's James. So that people are getting used to his voice, and the message comes up after we've played our initial message that says, welcome to the medical center. My name is James. I'm your virtual assistant. If you want, I can help you book, cancel, reschedule your appointments. If you press 1, you can speak to me right now and skip the queue. Otherwise, stay on hold and it will go through to a human receptionist. So the reason why I'd recommend something like that, it doesn't have to be exactly like that, but something like that, is just because we've found that if you sort of force patients to go to the AI first, you get a lot of complaints. If it's just as an adjunct to the care that you're providing, meaning that when you have long wait lines on your phone, maybe at 9 o'clock in the morning when everyone's sort of calling in, or alternatively when you want to do an after hours service, but you obviously don't want to have a receptionist there 24 hours a day. That doesn't make any sense. You can use James, who can answer your phone calls, do a bit of triaging. So not medical triaging, but triaging in terms of directing people where there is a way that you can optimize for after hours PIPs with these AI receptionists. So for example, you have an AI receptionist that might have a message saying when you call in at midnight to say, yep, we can direct you to the on-call doc. There is a fee with that. If you want to see the local doc, or alternatively, there might be a after-hours deputizing service that is bulk billed. So that's something that you can think about as well. So you press 1 to go off to James, who's the AI receptionist. He can book, cancel, reschedule, etc. He looks into your BP, so integrated with BP. He knows when your appointments are open, when they're closed. It's all live. It does that through Halo Connect. If he can't answer anything, or the patient wants to talk to the receptionist, or for whatever reason, maybe the patient says, I've got chest pain, it'll reroute it back to the human receptionist. So it'll go straight back to the next in line for the human receptionist. Kind of feels weird saying that, the human receptionist, as opposed to AI receptionist, but it goes back to the human receptionist, who can, obviously answer and do what is necessary. For all the people that don't want to speak to the AI, they just hold the line. Let me get rid of this yes. They don't say yes. They just hold the line. They hold and they just speak to a human reception as normal. We've found that to be pretty good. So this is a list. I should have put it on a PowerPoint perhaps. This is a list of things that the AI reception is really good at. So it's really good at figuring out patients that sort of just take a while to sort of make up their mind. One thing before I say that, when we say press 1 to speak to AI, we say, if you want, you can press 1 to speak to the AI receptionist. We record these calls for training purposes. So we don't record them audio, we transcribe them more technically, you would say, which is what we saw up here with our dummy calls here. So it's just like a transcription, so you can see what's going on. The reason why we do that is so you can figure out if there was an error made. If there was, sometimes patients will say, oh, I said this and the AI said that, and you can go back and look at it and go, oh, actually, whatever happened. So things that AI reception is really good at. It's really good at booking, cancelling, and rescheduling. It's really good at talking to the patients in such a nice voice, taking on their concerns. I have seen some transcripts where a patient will be like, I want to book it Monday at 10 o'clock, and then there's no appointments then. So the AI say, oh, so James will say, oh, we don't have any appointments then. What about in the afternoon? And then I'll say, oh, I can't make Monday afternoon. What about Tuesday at 12 o'clock? And then the AI receptionist might say, oh, well, we don't have 12 o'clock, but we have 11:30. And then the patient will be like, oh, well, I definitely can't make that. What about Thursday? And sort of just goes on and on. It's a 10-minute call, just book one thing. So really good at that. Really good for your like call overflow, I suppose. 9 o'clock in the morning when you're super busy, everyone's sort of calling in. This can definitely take a lot of that load off. So we're finding that it's saving about 2 to 3 hours of reception time. So that's the call time that it's taking away from the receptionist, which is really good. That means that the receptionist can focus on the patients that are in front of them. So that's helpful. The next feature that we're adding in is just the ability to book more complex things. So booking it with the doctor and then, maybe the nurse after. So, patient comes in for their care plan review, gets a Prolia, so 967 10997, or a patient comes in for an excision. So you might book, with your nurse and your doctor at the same time, flu clinics, blah, blah, blah. So adding in that complex piece. So this will really pull it all together as such. So that's what we'd recommend as a split. Now we can customize this whatever way you want with our telephone provider. So that's AJ from ASAP Telecom. If you have a complex system or you have other splits, you have multiple clinics, things like that, that's all certainly possible and can be done. It's just something that we sort of just, customize for you. So the things that we need from you when you first integrate, so if you want to jump on the document scanner, like you can jump on that straight away as soon as you integrate. So it's like a 3-minute process to integrate, and you can just jump on it straight away. For the AI receptionist, a couple of things that we need is we need your knowledge base, so everything about your clinic, all the information, etc. So we just send you an Excel sheet and get some information. Most of it's just from your website, and then clinic settings, which you can sort of customize yourself. And then we just contact your IT provider. So if you give us that, that's part of the Excel sheet as part of the onboarding process. We have our customer success manager, that's Maddie. She will meet up with your head of reception, practice manager, whoever, do an onboarding. We'll get your IT details. We'll talk to AJ, not IJ, AJ, and set that up for you in terms of the phone line. So that split that we talked about here, where you sort of come into your medical center, go off to James if you want to, and come back to the human receptionist, or however you want. So that's the AI receptionist and the document scanner. Let me know if there's any questions. Let me just check if there's anything. There's a few. Yeah, okay, we've got a few. Excellent. Let me pull those up. Oh, quick question. So 967 and 10997. Good. Oh, always good MBS questions. Let me answer this one. Can you bill a 967 and 10997 on the same day? You absolutely can. So they just got to be for different things. So you can't bill a 10997 for a nurse just gathering data for your review. If they're doing something that is unrelated, well, not unrelated to your care plan, but separate from the care plan. So giving a Prolia injection is, separate from the care plan review, which might be, are you taking your vitamin D and your calcium and doing a bit of exercise, blah, blah, blah. So yes, you can absolutely bill those. Hopefully that makes sense. Can we set something specifically for a reception, such as if an appointment being cancelled within 2 hours of appointment, that James makes a log of the cancellation in patient notes and advise the patient of the cancellation policy? So good question. So no AI receptionists have the ability to write into notes. So that's like a BP thing. You can put it in your knowledge base that you have a cancellation policy, and if it's within 2 hours, then there is a fee. For example, we have a cancellation policy. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's 3 hours. I should know this, right? So it's 3 hours. So a patient called up. It was 3.5 hours. So outside of that window. So James, like, it's 3 hours. So it's outside of that policy. So there's no fee. So you would set it up. You would put that into the knowledge base. So the knowledge base is all the rules of your clinic, the reception rules, your billing rules, blah, blah, blah. So James could say, yes, there will be a fee, and then pass it to the human receptionist who would answer that and collect the fee. Or it might say, no, there is no fee because it's outside the policy, and, carry on. So that's definitely policy. We don't have a payment gateway yet. But we'll be adding it in. We've got a patient portal coming, so a booking portal that includes collecting fees and things like that, which will make it easier. And one more question. So does the AI receptionist booking work smoothly with AMS? So we've got AMS at our system. So AMS is AutoMed. So we've got AutoMed, and they seem to work fine with each other. Essentially, both of them just look at Halo, which looks at your booking appointment and see what's available. I suppose theoretically, could someone book online at the point that the AI is talking to someone and saying, yes, that appointment is available? Theoretically, it could. The way that James works is that it will go, these are the appointments that are available. So it usually gives you like 3 or 4. And then the patient will go, yes, I want, 12 o'clock Monday. And then James will go, yep, give me 1 second. I'm confirming that. That's when it books. So at that moment, if someone else had already booked it like a second before, it'll say, oh, sorry, that booking didn't go through. Let me just double check, and then double checks and like, yep, no, it's full. Sorry, that one's booked. Can I offer you a different appointment? That can be a friction point for patients where they're like, oh, I don't like that. That's a bit frustrating. And at that point, it does say, oh, look, it looks like something's occurred where that booking has already been made, as in that appointment that you just wanted is done. let me transfer you to a human receptionist that'll, have a look at that and just make sure. So you're right, they could theoretically, we use them, seems to be fine. The likelihood of sort of two things booking at exactly the same time is pretty low. We're a big clinic, so we have 500 people call a day, and we see 400 plus patients a day. So it seems to be okay, but good question. Now, I think I saw another question here. So what happens after hours for triage? Yes, good question. So it doesn't provide medical advice. So that's like a specific guardrail. So if a patient comes in, calls in, sorry, and says, I've got chest pain, just as your medical receptionist would say, they'd say, well, look, sounds like you've got chest pain, sounds like you should go to the hospital. I'm encouraging you to hang up and go to the hospital. Uh, if you have an after hours deputizing service, and for example, the patient says, I have, maybe not chest pain, but like say a headache, but it's like not urgent. They're not like, I have a headache, I'm drowsy. Like they're just like, I got a headache, I want to talk to a doctor. It'll say, look, we can transfer you off to your deputizing service or your on-call doctor or whatever. There's a fee associated with that, or there isn't, whatever your rules are, and then it can just transfer. So it doesn't do a medical triage in terms of it's definitely not going to say, oh yeah, the headache sounds fine. Take some Panadol and come back in the morning. It'll try and sort the problem out. If it can't because it's after hours, it'll say, sorry, I can just book, cancel, reschedule. We don't have any medical, support now because you don't have a deputizing service. Please call an after hour service or go to the ambulance or urgent care center or something like that. So similar to what your receptionists do, same as identifying patients, it'll identify by name, date of birth, phone number, so 3-point identification. So to meet like accreditation purposes and things like that as well. If there's any other questions, let me know. Now the other thing I was going to show you, let me just see if I've got it here. The other thing I was going to show you is our sort of what we're aiming for in terms of our dashboard. So we're just trying to put in like really high value stuff into our dashboard. So being like, your total billings, your revenue per day, revenue per hour. We've got this working in a test environment for my clinic, sort of just getting it to be a little bit better. And then performance, so things like new patients, utilization rate, DNA, patient flow, etc. And then we've got our home dashboard, which goes through your unfilled appointments, patients that are coming in and what billing opportunities they have. So everyone in the clinic can view those and see, okay, we've got, these patients coming in with these opportunities just in one thing to make it a little bit easier. And then we've got the next thing that we're still going to be adding with our receptions, like outreach campaigns. So calling in people to those unfilled appointments that are, due for their care plans, health assessments, things like that. So to fill your books, we think that'll be a valuable value component of what we're offering. And then the next thing that we're adding is, so working with Ian with this is, dashboards and disbursement, so paying our doctors. So that's sort of the general roadmap surrounding these products. So any other questions about that? I know I've sort of rushed over a lot of things. Hopefully that's been helpful. This is recorded. Oh, that's right. One thing I was going to show you. So in our clinic portal and AI Scribe, down the left-hand corner, there is a help and support section. If you click on that, it brings up our intercom. So intercom is our like help AI agent. So there's a couple of things that it can do. So one, it links into our help page. So if you want to look at, how do I do a BP integration? How does the document sort of work? So on and so forth. It sort of, has some videos, blah, blah, blah. If you want to ask a specific question, you can message. And so you go ask a question and it messages our team. So there's a few of us up here that sort of answer the questions for you. And then we can set up your integration, etc. So this is usually the quickest way to get help. The AI agent will look at our help desk and try and it'll search it and give you an answer, or hopefully give you a good answer, sort of, and rectify the issue without immediately, without any too many issues. Otherwise, our team will answer that and sort it out. The other thing you can do is email hello@mbspro.com.au and one of the team will answer it. So we've got sort of like 4 of us on there that sort of answer questions all the time, and we can sort you out. And then we've got Maddie, who is our customer success manager specifically for Clinic Portal. So she's a point of contact. She can do onboarding for your team, so on and so forth. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're adding in. Hopefully that all makes sense and is helpful. We found the document sorter to be, really easy to get going on. A lot of clinics love it. So we've got free trials on these things because we want to make sure it's, good and works for you and your team. Otherwise, we're nearly at, well, we're at 8 o'clock now. So let me just check if there's any other questions. I think we've got a few more, but we'll call it a night, pack it in. So how's the dashboards different and better than Cubico? I wouldn't say it's better. Like Cubico is great. It's super extensive. Probably the key things that we're doing, and the sort of the reason why I've got it, is more in the context of those outbound campaigns and really trying to focus on. So I'd call it the 80-20 rule. So there's a ton of stuff in other dashboard providers, so like Clinimetrics, which are really good. Cubico, I think there's another one as well. Not 100% sure, but they're all really great, right? Super huge amounts of graphs and all sorts of data. With our dashboards, we really try to focus on the things that we think matter and that move the needle. So the things that I would look at as a practice owner. So when I'm looking over at my practice, I look at total billings, revenue per hour, revenue per consult, CDM percentage, with 10,997 completion rate, and I'm looking at all of those item numbers being done, and bulk billing, private rates, and a few things like that. So they're sort of the numbers that I look at. I don't look at a huge amount of things and people that are due for flu vaccines and COVID vaccines and things like that. So they're the numbers that I sort of keep an eye on. So hopefully that makes sense. Otherwise, that was sort of a shorter session. So we're doing these every month. So the last Wednesday of the month, we do the clinic portal webinar. Second Wednesday of the month, we do the AI scribe. So all the products that get added in to each of those things. This is a point of contact, so feel free to jump on. We'll answer some questions. We'll hopefully make it easy to set up and provide some ongoing support. Otherwise, it looks like we're all good. I'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for joining. This is all recorded, so it will go up into that help section that I showed you, which you can also access by going to intercom.help/MBS Pro. This is where our masterclass lives, or all the masterclasses that we do, as well as our clinic portal tools and all sort of useful information. No problems. All right. Thanks, everyone. What I'll do is I'll stop sharing and I'll leave it there, and I'll let you have a good rest of your night. Hopefully that was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.